you geeks, a quick word about Audible. Daniel Green has done a great series of videos explaining what's up with what had been my favorite company for listening to audiobooks. After they made peace with Sanderson, I thought things were on the straight and narrow. But recent details have come to light that Daniel Green has explained over on his channel, which I would like to sum up most eloquently in the words of Lion Prince John.
Coin a phrase, my dear counselor. Rob the poor to feed the rich. Am I right?
Allegedly. To summarize Daniel Green's excellent videos, Audible is taking the royalties that are usually due to authors from credits used to purchase their books and splitting those royalties with other authors who that reader may have listened to from Audible's quote-unquote free-to-you catalog on Audible Plus. Allegedly. So this means you can spend money on a book that you like intentionally while thinking you're letting the corporate overlords carry the cost of books you're just experimenting with or dabbling. But in fact, the corporate overlords are taking that money from the author you like and giving it to the author that maybe you don't like. This doesn't mean that that author is a terrible person. It means the corporate overlords are making the other authors foot their bill and lying to you about it. This I have an issue with, as it affected me personally this spring. This is, of course, awful for authors, and what makes it worse, in my opinion, is how easily Audible is tricking consumers into taking money from some authors to pay off others and being silent about the corporate profits they are reaping at both authors' really expense. This story hits particularly close to me because I am frequently referring to my audiobook reading on this channel. I was on the bi-monthly credit system and just finished my credit-purchased version of Onyx Storm on Audible by Rebecca Yarros. Now, I did reread Onyx Storm profusely on Audible, but eventually I decided I needed to move to something new. But the 2 months weren't over yet, and Audible, being ever so helpful, recommended that A Court of Thorns and Roses was available as free to me on their platform. Now, I figured that Sarah J. Maas and Audible had cut some sort of deal where they would foot the costs of me listening to it for free, knowing that I would get hooked, or betting that I would get hooked and read the entire rest of the series. Thus, Moss and or Audible was footing the costs of the bill of me listening to A Court of Thorns and Roses. Daniel Green's videos have revealed that they were not. Allegedly. I have no actual knowledge of the contractual relations between Sarah J. Maas and Audible. Now, A Court of Thorns and Roses has been removed from Audible's free titles list, so maybe that's an indication that it wasn't a part of this new rob one author to pay another scheme allegedly currently happening at Audible. And that Rebecca Yarros, who wrote Onyx Storm, was carrying the cost of me listening to A Court of Thorns and Roses. Now, this isn't to dig on The Court of Thorns and Roses, although I specifically was not buying this book because I knew I probably wouldn't like it, but just was reading it for morbid curiosity. Now, I do not mean to imply that any author's work is worthless or that because I don't like or know them, they should not be paid. Rather, my point is that because Audible is promoting their works as free to the reader, Audible is representing, I think, not legal advice, that Audible themselves is footing the bill and giving the author the value of their work. I find it incredibly dishonest that they hid from me, the client, that the costs of listening to a new author who I didn't think I would really enjoy would be borne by an author I loved, such as Rebecca Yarros. Now, you could argue that Rebecca Yarros and Sarah J. Maas aren't exactly hurting for money, and that my single lapse of judgment here isn't going to hurt anyone. But Audible has a basic monopoly on many new and up-and-coming authors that I want to support, such as Jill Barup. Now, her audiobook did not drop until after I had purchased Onyx Storm, and it is not available on the free catalog. So I've been waiting these past few months to get that new credit and spend it on her book. Now, if I hadn't heard the news from Daniel Green, I could have again dabbled in the free to me department of Audible Plus, and with every title that I just perused, take money from Jill Barup, who I adore as a creator, and give it to someone who I don't know and whose product Audible is representing to me as being provided for free. But Audible is not footing the bill for their corporate promotion of free materials. They're making small individual authors like Jill Barup foot the bill, which is just unfair, unethical, and makes me want to quit Audible as an institution. However, they have a monopoly on some authors I want to support. So, I will be canceling my renewing subscription at one every other month. It's not like I was using it for a lifeline like I was back in COVID days. I'm also going to be checking out their competition, such as Spotify, where I've already checked Elizabeth Wheatley's Dangerous Assassin is available for audiobook consumption, and I have a feeling that that's going to be my next book after Just Stab Me Now, the audiobook. So, I hope by then, though I doubt, Audible will have gotten its act together and made an honest reader out of us all and stop stealing from their corporate underlings to pay for their corporate promotional material of free to the reader books. I've also signed the petition on change.com that I've shown earlier in this video, and I've dropped the link to that petition below if you would like to sign as well. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next week when I dive into the new 2025 Cosmere Reading Order. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye!